process. He's earned that right. I cannot respect his toughness and mentality and work ethic more than I do already. This will all be about Trevor right now.
Somebody wrote a clip.
Trevor under center. Oh, he slipped and he fell down. Trevor fell down on the play. Now he's going to try and run it in. He's in the end zone. Touchdown. Trevor ran it in. He ran it in. Touchdown.
I mean, he was number one pick for a reason. I mean, he can move well with his feet. He can get the first down. He's not easy to bring down. I think you can relate him to a Josh Allen in that point. Like, he's not one of those QBs where you just kind of thud him up and he's going to fall to the ground. Like, you got to actually hit him. You got to actually bowl him to the ground. But also his legs and his arm is something that you definitely have to be very keen on.
Trevor drops, looks, fires toward the goal line. That ball's going to be caught. Touchdown. Dropping, looking to throw. Looking, fires left side. Ball's going to be caught for the touchdown. Trevor takes it, runs to the right, runs it into the end zone. Touchdown.
I don't think I ever seen Trevor like this. I feel like we won a national championship together, and I feel like he's just out there. He's on fire, man. Like, you seen it.
Dropping is Trevor. Looking, steps up. He's going to run it. Trevor to the 5-yard line. Trevor stays on his feet. Into the end zone. Touchdown.
Trevor is his own person. He's very much cerebral in terms of the way he communicates with everybody, right? He doesn't change his stripes just based on who he's interacting with. And because he is just innately such a good guy and a good person, he has the ability to pull people aside in his own way and just be honest with them. And that kind of hits home, I think, for a lot of players where maybe he's not rah-rah, jumping up and down and getting guys maybe fired up. He can pull them aside and just maybe have a quick conversation that hits home.
You know, Trevor, because it's fun, we appreciate you so much for everything you do. I just want you to know all of Jacksonville behind it. We know it's a meme that's kind of going viral, so we got your own video.
Trevor takes it, runs to the right, runs it into the end zone. Touchdown. A 1-yard touchdown run by Trevor Lawrence.
I mean, you asked people a year ago, people thought I sucked. So, I mean, I don't think you can listen to too much. I've always known what I'm capable of, and it's been frustrating at times. You know, I obviously haven't played as well as I know I can, but now having the foundation in place, the confidence in what we're doing, the system, the scheme, our personnel, got a lot of great players.
Appreciate you guys. Couldn't have done it without you.
Now, Jaguars Today on 1010XL with Mike Dempsey, Fat Tony, and RJ Saunders.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Trevor Lawrence going to talk a lot about the Jaguars quarterback today. Good morning to you, Jaguars Today, off and rolling. Tony Smith, how are you?
Doing well.
RJ Saunders, sporting the Laker gear today. What's going on in there, RJ Saunders?
Just went with the fit. So,
okay. I mean, what are you wearing in there? Like black?
yeah, got some black on.
Yeah, pretty much anything could go with black, right? You get a haircut?
I did.
You're hiding the haircut. Can I see, please? Can I? It looks good.
I mean, it's been a couple days.
Has it? All right. Well, sorry, man. You know, I'm not that dude who's like scoping out your hair on a daily basis. It just looked like you're a little tighter above the ears right there. That's all.
I don't expect for you to be like, you know, a person who's like, hey, man, you get a haircut. I'm not expecting that from anybody, to be quite honest with you. So,
all right. Sorry I noticed.
No, I'm glad that you noticed. Thank you. I'm just saying it's been a couple of days. So it's not like fresh. You know what I'm saying?
Fresh enough.
Yeah, it's just been a couple of days.
All right. Fresh enough to me. All right. So United States does not win the World Baseball Classic, Tony. And, you know, would have liked to have won it. And I probably won't worry about it again until 3 or 4 years go by until the next one comes down the line. That's just kind of the way it is. Speaking of baseball, by the way, it is almost that time of year. If you're a T-Mobile customer.
Yeah, next week.
Next week, the 24th, a week from yesterday, 6 days from now, the window opens up. Free MLB TV for a year if you get it through T-Mobile on T-Mobile Tuesday. So that's not a plug for T-Mobile. That's a plug for you, the T-Mobile customers who happen to be in our audience. All right, so today, Tone, we got a lot. We got Brian Sexton coming up, former voice of the Jacksonville Jaguars, now a great member of the Jaguars .com squad over there, and wears a lot of hats for the organization. He will join us to talk about Trevor Lawrence, but the offseason for the Jags and what's happened. I don't want to say trim the fat, but tighten up the belt a little bit. Added Chris Rodriguez, brought a few guys back. Where do they go from here? Has this reset their draft priorities? We'll talk about the draft with Chad Ryder coming up in hour 2 from NFL.com. But today, on Trevor, Tony, I was thinking about it yesterday as we were discussing, was 2025 or 2022 the better Trevor Lawrence season, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can look at it in a couple of different ways and make your case. I would lean towards 25, but, the question isn't about the past, or at least it doesn't need to be about the past. It's what does he do in 2026? And should we expect Trevor Lawrence to be in a different place at the beginning of the year based on the way he played down the stretch? 5 of the 6 best games he had as a passer came in the last 6 weeks of the season. His top quarterback ratings were all in that month and a half period, passer ratings at least. So, the Jags were winning. Trevor put up numbers. He was efficient. Yes, you can look at competition, but we all thought the competition was better in the back half of the season, at least on paper, than it was in the beginning of the season. Does he now, Tony, pick up somewhere closer to that instead of starting back at where he was, we'll call ground zero, where he was in week 1 of 2025?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of expectation that that's exactly what's going to happen. Right, like going into year 2,
where he left off.
Right, with Cohen and the whole process going on here. I think there's a clearer picture of exactly how they want to use Parker Washington in the offense, right, which is really was a big factor in why it sparked, in the second half of the season. Trevor Lawrence obviously had a go-to guy, and it was Parker Washington. Jacoby coming in helped out a lot. With the over-the-middle stuff as well. Brian Thomas Jr. is a guy that we talk so much about Brian, right? And it was nice to hear from the GM that when he was asked about the Brian Thomas Jr. trade stuff going,
there is no trade stuff.
Right. Like,
we're not getting those calls, or at least not getting offers.
Yeah, to at least just kind of laugh that off, And so we know that those are going to be the 3 guys that are going to be featured in the Jaguars pass game, and we know what that looked like in the back half of the season when those 3 guys were working together in the pass game. Now, how does the league adjust to what the Jags did on offense last year? That's an open question, and we don't know exactly what that's going to look like when they go into 2026. But I think there is and should be high expectations for Trevor Lawrence coming into the season to look like the guy we got in the back half of last year. Now, is there still that thought in the back of my head that, within games, I've seen Trevor Lawrence throughout his career be kind of a slow starter and then get into it, right? Like, that's just been something that's been part of the process with Trevor. It's been part of the process in seasons at times. Like, it's just been part of it. And hopefully in 2026, if he's ever going to reach the heights that I think we all think he might be able to reach, it's going to have to be a season-long thing from week 1 throughout the rest of it. I think this is the best opportunity for that kind of thing to happen to this point in his career.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't think it necessarily means that for 17 weeks you keep going with a slight arrow uptick. I mean, you're going to have some ups and downs. You're human, and that's how sports work. But that today will be one of our main focuses on what our expectations are for the quarterback of the Jags heading into 2026. And, he starts the season, hopefully everybody will be healthy, but there are not many questions on the offensive line. Yes, you do lose Travis Etienne. He was an excellent outlet. He caught 6 touchdowns for you this year, so you can't dismiss his impact, particularly in the passing game. I think Chris Rodriguez can help in the running game. We'll see about the passing game, but Brenton Strange healthy, a full season of Jacoby Myers, Parker Washington already unlocking how to use him more widespread. Can they get Brian Thomas Jr. more towards the rookie season form than he was last year? That will be one of the big questions that needs answering going forward. But coming up next, we've got the former voice of the Jags, Brian Sexton, stopping by. What is he now? Senior correspondent at Jaguars.com, I believe, is the official title of our guy. So he'll join us to talk all things Jaguars off season. If you'd like to get into the program today, 641-1010 on the Key Buick GMC phone lines or on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. You can hit us up on the socials at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, and at R has no J. You're still hanging in there. A little round ball rock. And also, you can stream us on X. You can stream us on Facebook if you're old, and you can stream us on YouTube as well. So any of those options are available for you. I'm old, so that's why I know that, Facebook is a friendly environment, although I don't get on there all that often. I do stay signed in at home, though, so I do get pop-ups from time to time. You see the weirdest things, like so-and-so has replied to their own post that you have yet to see yet. Well, Probably not going to see the original or the
Okey-doke,
reply
yeah.
at that point in time. All right, we are off and rolling, ready to go. Brian Sexton next. Chad Ryder from NFL.com later on in hour 2. Plenty of discussion on the quarterback of the Jacksonville Jaguars today, Trevor Lawrence, and expectations for 2026. We'd invite you to share yours with us today here on Jaguars Today on 1010 XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, I don't know how long it's going to last, but the cooler weather has come back in this week, and it's a reminder that there's nothing quite like a warm breakfast sandwich on a chilly morning to get your day started right. Mike Dempsey from my friends at Dandy Foods. They cannot wait to have me tell you more about their twin pack cinnamon swirl and country sausage breakfast. Ready to go in under a minute. You get the sweet, then you get the salty. They're both delicious, and they are addicting. It's a hearty portion. You get 7 ounces. You're going to find them at your local daily store. So pop in, check them out. I know I usually talk about the great selection of Dandy lunch options, but once in a while, we got to change it up, give some love to the most important meal of the day. So, look, full breakfast menu, whether it's the cinnamon swirl and country sausage or anything else from Dandy. And, yes, they still have that classic line of sandwiches and subs recipes they perfected over the course of 70 years. A Jacksonville-based company, so if you're hungry in Duval, Dandy's absolutely the name to know. So when you are, do what I do. Go out and make yours a Dandy and do it today.
Jaguars Today.
For the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. 1010XL.
Me, Frank
Frangie.
I just think about baseball.
With Hayes Carline.
How about that?
They are the Frangie Show.
What's wrong with this picture? You may not look like a winning team, but you are one.
Afternoons on 1010XL.
The new Ackerman Cancer Center is now open at World Golf Village, providing state-of-the-art screenings and diagnostic exams with no referral required. Same-day appointments are available. Call today or visit AckermanCancerCenter.com.
It's Awaken 180 Weight Loss Wednesday.
On Jaguars Today.
I'm Frank Frangie, and I just got back from the farm at Okefenokee in Folkestone. Man, was I impressed. You have to see these handcrafted cabins. But act fast. On this 1,000-acre farm, there will only be 250 cabins. Each phase has jumped in value, so come get your lot and lock in your equity. Enjoy living in harmony with nature, going to the grocery store in your own backyard, and connecting with people grounded in food and purpose. Learn more at okefarm.com. That's okefarm.com.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists congratulate the 1010XL Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Brandon Webb, senior track and field athlete at Andrew Jackson High. Brandon was an all-Gateway Conference champ and is a member of the National Honor Society. He'll be attending the University of Alabama.
Think your season's over? Let's turn your off-season back on. Hoops is heating up on Hard Rock Bet, Florida's only legal way to bet the NBA. So you can bet on teams, star players, and more. With games practically every day, there's always something to parlay. Roll with Hard Rock Bet all NBA season. New users get paid double winnings on your first 10 bets.
Max bet of $50 per bet. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
What if every day felt like a private resort in your backyard? Premier Outdoor Inc., Jacksonville's #1 pool builder in the 2025 Best of Bold City Awards, creates entire outdoor living spaces, not just pools, custom pools, heated spas, summer kitchens, cabanas, fireplaces, screen enclosures, and more. Veteran and first responder owned, turn your backyard into an unforgettable retreat. See what you could build at premieroutdoorinc.net. Premier Outdoor Inc., a visionary of hardscapes and aquatics.
At the First Coast YMCA, there's no place like this place, with programs and experiences that will bring your whole family together. Summer will be here before we know it, and Y Summer Day Camp registration is now open. Visit your local Y to secure your child's spot early for a season full of memories and adventure. Don't delay. Day camps will fill up. There's no place like this place, so visit your local Y to sign up or online at fcymca.org. Search Summer Day Camp.
This is Hayes Carline for First Florida Credit Union. I went to the branch on 210 to get my car loan and had a fantastic experience. I got a great rate and was in and out. The online banking services are also outstanding. Depositing checks through the mobile app is fast and efficient. First Florida Credit Union was voted Best Credit Union in the Best of Bold City Community Choice Awards for 3 years running, and it's easy to see why. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
XL Primetime and Bud Light is all about the buckets Thursday and Friday to tip off the tournament. Join Joe C., Matt, and Leon at the Southside Ale House in Tinseltown, noon Thursday, and Monkey's Uncle at the beach on Friday. That's Hoops Heaven and XLP with Bud Light.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars today on 1010XL.
All right, Jaguars today. Yesterday was kind of a look back on some great seasons in Jaguar history, and today's a look forward to expectations for Trevor Lawrence in 2026. And to help us have that conversation, Brian Sexton is listed as a senior correspondent under the Jaguars production heading on Jaguars.com. If you want to know somebody who can do just about every job over there, just about, that'd be Brian Sexton from my point of view, and he joins us.
Floors too.
What's that? You sweeping the floors?
I can sweep the floors if that's what it takes.
Whatever you, bro. I just appreciate you, and you know how much I do, and it's been great working with you now for several years directly. But tell us, you've had a little chance to decompress this all season. What have you been up to for the last couple months?
Lots of speaking engagements, which is what I enjoy doing. And obviously I do a number of those for the Jaguars, Rotary clubs and Boy Scout groups and black tie charity galas and things like that. But I'm also doing a little bit of it on my own, kind of stretching, spreading my wings after 32 years and sharing some lessons with some corporate groups. And, hey, listen, at 57, you still got to grow. So I'm trying to do a little bit of that.
Yeah, and then hopefully not sideways, because that's the way I'm 57, and that's the way I generally grow at this point, Brian. But, what are you going to do? All right. So, hey, Trevor Lawrence, let's just jump right in on this.
Sure.
Was last year the best year of his career?
100%.
Okay.
I mean, that 8-game stretch was as good as anything I've ever seen from a Jaguars quarterback.
Yeah. All right. So your expectation then, can he hit the ground running? Or is it like at least he'll be further advanced at the start of the season? Because Tony just made the point a minute ago. Trevor doesn't, sometimes he starts games a little slow. He's had some slower starts to the season, and then he's picked it up. What are your expectations for, provided that the pieces around him that he has right now stay healthy, what he can do in terms of getting off to a hot start?
Well, I base a lot of it on Liam Cohen's second year, right? And going and finding a running back who can give him play action, because that's when he's at his best. But, yeah, I expect him. I expect him to be able to pick right back up where he left off and play at a high level. Maybe not to 108 or 110 quarterback rating in week one, but listen, when he got hot there, and I pointed to the Cardinals game as that moment where it really turned on. After he threw that third interception, he was on the sideline and he was pissed off at himself. You could just see it. And that was where I thought, okay, well, this would be interesting. What's he going to do about it? And, of course, he came back out and played to an incredible level the rest of the season. So it was a combination of himself and Liam's offense coming together. And I think Liam said it best at the end of the year that they scratched the surface on where this offense is in terms of their total understanding of what he wanted to be able to do with the offense. So I expect through OTAs and through minicamp and into training camp that we see Trevor Lawrence perform at a high level every day. And you guys, you're out there, that he isn't necessarily the best practice quarterback early in training camp either. He had some days last year where you're like, okay, how long is it going to take for him to get this? But by the time we got to November, he wasn't just getting it, he was dictating it. So yes, my expectation is that the combined knowledge of what Liam wants to do with his time on task, with a strong running game, because he's got to have that. He's a play action quarterback. He's got to have that. If those things are all in place, I don't see any reason why he can't come out to a hot start.
We know Trevor Lawrence at 2 different seasons in his career, including last year, he's finished 5th and 7th in the MVP voting. So let's just say, using a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being basically no chance, 10 being a lock for it to happen in your mind, Brian, how likely do you think it is for Trevor Lawrence to win a league MVP in a Jaguars uniform?
This year or any year?
Any year.
Oh, I think it's likely, because I think he's that caliber of quarterback who can help this team get to a championship. Do I think he's a guy who can carry them on their own? Those guys are so few. I mean, that's the Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes level, and I'm not bold enough to say he's at that level. But the way he was playing last year and the way that the defense rallied around him, I think I think he can be. I'll call it a 7, because I think what they're building in Jacksonville, despite the fact that they didn't, stumble through free agency and just spend like the Browns or the Titans or the Raiders did this year. By the way, how they have done through other seasons in their history. I think they're building something here, and I think he will be the catalyst to it. I think he's talented enough to do that. I saw the fire that I often questioned when I watched him play early in his career. And I'm not the biggest fire guy. You got to be the most emotional, but I need to see the intensity. And I saw that. And I think he can be that guy who gets them over the top. I think it's a talented roster. I think they're as well coached as they have been since Tom Coughlin was the guy. I really like where they are at.
I think so too, Brian. And I think, a lot was made of the let it rip kind of stuff, put it on his chest. Like Liam Cohen telling Trevor Lawrence, forget about the mistakes or don't worry about the consequences of a bad play and, try to make the special plays because you're capable of doing that. And then that was a hurdle, I think, mentally he got over as the season went on that really helped put up those performances. So what is the next hurdle for him? Is it honing in on greater overall accuracy, or is it better awareness in the pocket? Yeah, it could be anything. So what do you think is one thing you'd like to see him work on this offseason?
Ownership. I want to see him not even see him. I want to hear him be more vocal about what he wants and what he likes. To me, listen, it's Liam Cohen's offense, obviously, but it's built around the quarterback. And when you go back and you look at Peyton Manning and Tom Brady and those great quarterbacks that played at a championship level and played at that level week in and week out, it was the way that they demanded the huddle be. It was the way that they would stop a play on the practice field. And it was not even coaches. They would jump at an offensive lineman for jumping off sides. The way that they interacted with their defensive teammates, the way that they sparred with it. I want to see ownership. I think accuracy, absolutely, pocket awareness, all those things that you mentioned, but it's an intangible quality that I want to see and hear from him. And that is, this is mine. I'm the franchise quarterback. I make $54 million a year, and I'm going to perform at that level because it takes that commitment to perform at that level. And I'm not saying he never made it before, but I just think he broke the glass ceiling this year, Mike, and he now knows what he's capable and what he is required to do for this team to win. And I want to see it, feel it, hear it from him throughout the offseason. You know me, you know him. He gets to a point sometimes at the press conferences where he sort of downplays everything. Not anymore. Let's hear it from you.
Brian, I don't think any of us are surprised that the Jags were not active in free agency, essentially, but they did sign running back Chris Rodriguez. What is the why for them having signed Chris Rodriguez? How do you see that working in the Jaguars locker room?
Couple things. First of all, he had 5 games last year, I think, where he averaged 5 yards a carry on 10 or more carries and scored a touchdown. So he's a power guy. He runs in the middle of the field, and it really didn't have that middle of the field runner. Travis Etienne was always looking to get outside. Bashal Tutin's a speed guy, didn't necessarily run that well in the middle of the field. This is a guy, when you go watch highlights of the Commanders, go watch the highlights of the Jets game in particular, where he just runs guys over, tries to jump over them in the middle of the field. He's a physical, pounding kind of running back, just the kind that brings a safety closer to the box on first down. Which I think sets up play action beautifully. And, it's not that I don't want a Fred Taylor or a Maurice Jones-Drew, who wouldn't, but there aren't that many of those guys out there. And for the Jaguars to have a couple of good backs that maybe each get 500 yards rushing and a couple of touchdowns, as long as it makes the whole offense go, I'm good with that. Different kinds of runners, different situational runners, and that's what I've heard James Gladstone and Liam Cohen talk about, is different guys with different roles that all contribute. Maybe one runs away from the pack and all of a sudden becomes a star. I mean, Bashal Tutin's got that kind of explosiveness, and he had 6 touchdowns last year. Maybe he is that guy, but this guy from Washington's a different dude, and at 225 pounds, looks like he likes to run in the middle of the field, and they don't have that until he gets in uniform.
Talking here with senior correspondent for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Brian Sexton. Brian, when you look at Devin Lloyd leaving, a lot of people projected his average annual value on his contract would be $18 million plus per year. Ended up with the numbers we saw yesterday, about $14 million, and his base salary's under $2 million for year one. You know, the Jags could have found a way to fit this kind of deal under the salary cap. Do you think it was the right move to not do that and push themselves even tighter financially, having to tighten their belt even more?
I wouldn't. Listen, there's too many guys that you want to sign to pay everybody. And when you look at off-the-ball linebacker and running back, Travis Etienne or Achan, I don't know that I'll ever get used to saying
I won't either.
They're in a non-premium position, and those are the guys that you have to draft, develop, and replace because you want to pay Anton Harrison coming up. That's a premium position at tackle. You want to pay Parker Washington. That's a premium position at wide receiver. And though it's not a premium position at tight end, it looks like he's an elite performer for you in Brenton Strange. Well, you can't pay all 5 of those guys, so they made the decision, we're going to let those other guys, Lloyd and Achan, go so that we can have the guys that we want. I remember, too, last year, Lloyd didn't even start the season as the designated starter. He was splitting time with Ventrell Miller. Then he had an amazing year. But I don't want to discount it at all because he won a couple of games for them. He had a hell of a year.
Mm-hmm.
But before the season, did anybody even blink when they didn't give him the 5th-year option? I think everybody said, yeah.
No, but I think, before the season, if you had said, hey, a year from now we're signing Monteric Brown to $30+ million for 3 years, we would have said, probably not. Yeah. I mean, things change.
Things do change. I get that. No, I get that. But that speaks to the point that certain guys fit exactly what they want to do. And Monteric Brown fits what Coach Camp wants to do on the defensive side of the ball. And obviously, Devin Lloyd, even though he had the 7 takeaways this year, and that, by the way, had always been the thing that you could count on with him, that he was going to be around the ball, find ways to create takeaways. He did that consistently in his career, but he doesn't fit necessarily what they want to do. And they've got guys behind him that they like. I keep hearing the name Branson Combs, the undrafted rookie from Wake Forest who was added to the roster when other teams tried to sign him off. He's a guy they like. They drafted Jack Kaiser. They've got 11 picks this year, Mike. I fully expect them to go out and chase them. I guess I wasn't surprised at all that they didn't bring Devin Lloyd back because what he does and what they want him to do just didn't seem to fit on an every down basis.
How would you prioritize the Jaguars' needs now going into the draft?
You guys, you probably have said this over and over and over since the season ended. They need pressure up front. I mean, they need, and by up front, I don't mean 41 and 44. I mean, they need to get somebody who can push the pocket and make the quarterback take a step in the direction of Trayvon or Josh. There's none of that right now. I mean, we go back and watch the Bills game. Anytime the pressure was coming, Josh Allen could just escape up the pocket, climb the ladder, as coaches like to say. It doesn't appear that this is a great draft for that. Now, maybe someone will rise up here in the next month before the draft begins, but you're going to have to go and find a guy. You're going to have to go and dig and find a developmental guy, because you look at Mason Smith and you see, 6'5" and 300 pounds and the long arms and the big hands, and he's a bright guy and has a great work ethic, but it just doesn't appear like that light is going to go on, that all of a sudden dominant player light is going to be there for him. So penetrating defensive tackle, somebody that can help out there. You obviously want to find another linebacker to be in the competition there. I think you could spend a lot of attention on defense too.
Yeah.
And it'd be just you bring me more prospects, right? You depth at edge, and it appears that this is a draft where there are some edge rushers, into the third day of the draft. Maybe not elite guys right away, but developmental guys. Another safety. You know what they need to replace? They need to find another Dewey Wingard. They need to go find a guy who can be sort of a jack of all trades. They need to find someone who can play safety for them, who can play on special teams for them. The roster's pretty good. And this is a draft where they can go and find some gems, some guys that can fill a role and grow into a role for them. Because if this roster is as good as we think that it is, there's other guys you're going to want to pay in the future, and you better find and develop some guys that can come in so you can let linebackers and guards and safeties go.
Yeah. All right. As we wrap up with you here, Bri, Miami seems to be having a clean out the closets kind of sale. Yeah. I mean, I was looking for another term, but yes, a fire sale. Absolutely. So Zach Sealer, defensive tackle, good pressure guy, solid against the run. He's not a spring chicken, but I think he's 31 years old. Do you think James Gladstone, if he hasn't already, should make a call down to South Florida to see what it would take to pry him away?
If he fits what they want, absolutely. I think you can bring guys like that in. I mean, that's the next generation of Eric Armstead, right? They brought Eric Armstead in because they wanted him to be a penetrating defensive tackle. It hasn't quite worked, and the contract is obviously terrible because it's really stuck the Jaguars with a contract they need to hold on to. But if you can go find a guy who can come in and be a 1 or 2 year solution to give you that penetrating, absolutely. And that, by the way, that's the way the Rams have done things too.
Mm-hmm.
They've drafted, they found guys, deep into the draft, and then they've gone and added veteran players. I mean, Trent McDuffie stands out as a guy that they went to find because they think he's going to be a person that puts them over the top. Okay, well, if you think this guy can put you over the top and he can be had for the right price, go get him.
Let's go. All right. We know that they're not afraid. They're not afraid to make some bold moves. So we'll see if anything happens between now and the NFL draft about 5 weeks away. Bri, all the best, man. It's good to catch up with you for the first time here on Jaguars Today this offseason. And
call me anytime.
Yeah, don't be a stranger, brother. We appreciate the time and look forward to catching up again.
Looking forward to it, Mike.
All right, buddy. There he goes. Brian Sexton, senior correspondent over at All Things Jaguars. Primarily, you find his work over at Jaguars.com. Tony, all right, let's take a timeout, reflect on what Brian had to say. What about Zach Sealer? And by the way, I can't take credit for this. Did you see? I can't remember who posted it. It was probably posted by more than one person. But as soon as Devon Achane gets traded from Miami, if he does, he's going to announce to everyone it's actually pronounced ETN. I thought that was pretty that was the best on the internet for me yesterday, at least. It doesn't take much. It's a low bar for what's going on out there, but nevertheless, wouldn't that be hilarious? Hey, Devon Etienne in the backfield right now. All right, we'll come back. Let's talk about some additions for the Jags. We're going to turn our attention strongly to Trevor Lawrence and our predictions for what 2026 will ultimately shake out to look like. NFL Draft in Hour 2. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars
Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. Live streaming from the XL Digital Studios. Brightened by Harbor Dental Care, Jacksonville's first choice for dental emergencies.
Mark Watson here to tell you a little bit about hardballcreative.com. It's your online promo haven with thousands of ideas on how to promote your company. We're open 24/7, 365.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all. Awaken 180 weight loss.
Jaguars Today, Wednesday.
Welcome to Key Buick GMC, proudly family-owned and operated since 1943. Come see why they're North Florida's new and pre-owned truck center, conveniently located on Southside and JTB, just minutes from the St. John's Town Center. At Key Buick GMC, every new vehicle comes with our lifetime powertrain warranty. Key Buick GMC, we are professional grade. Online at keybuickgmc.com. Lifetime powertrain warranty covers engine, transmission, drivetrain only. Exclusions apply. See dealer for details.
You know, Mr. Chubby's Wings is giving away free beer again this year for the Madness Tournament.
Do they really give you a free pint of Budweiser for each game you pick right?
Yes, all you gotta do is fill out your bracket now at 1010XL.com. Overall winner gets tickets to Welcome to Rockville on Saturday. But for free beer, just download your bracket, print it out, and bring it into any Mr. Chubby's Wings location during the games. Every game you pick right, you get a free beer.
Go to 1010XL.com now. It's the free beer Chubby Madness Bracket Challenge. See Mr. Chubby's Wings Facebook for full contest details.
Some auto shops call it an inspection and flag any little thing. That's called a wallet flush. At AA Automotive, they don't play that game. They fix only what needs fixing. AA Automotive on Richard Street. Boring name, awesome service, and no wallet flush.
Longer days, warmer nights, and a backyard that brings everyone together. Spring and summer in Florida means pool days, backyard barbecues, and night swims under the stars. Picket here. For nearly 50 years, Surfside Pools have been creating the backdrops for life's best memories. From weekly service and repairs to remodels, commercial maintenance, and new pool construction, Surfside does it all. Ready to float happy? SurfsidePools.net or call 904-246-2666. Surfside Pools. Summer starts here. License number CPC 044080.
All right, Jackson, let's talk about it. Spring cleaning feels great until your drains remind you what they've been holding on to all winter. If your sink's burping, your shower's backing up, or your toilet's hesitating like it's reading a blitz, it's time to call in the pros. Call Duck Duck Rooter. During their spring drain cleaning promotion, get your drains cleaned plus a free camera inspection for just $129. Must have outside clean out, honest pricing, proven experience, no fourth quarter surprises. When you're stuck, call the Duck. That's 904-862-6769 or duckduckrooter.com.
Hey, Jacksonville DDH. Dreamfinders Danny Hicken here with the scoop from Dreamfinders Homes, your national builder of the year. We've got first-year interest rates as low as 2.99% in homes in 20-plus communities throughout Northeast Florida. If you're house hunting, make sure your first pick Dreamfinders Homes, the proud official home builder of the PGA Tour, the Florida Gators, and your Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit dfhsalesevent.com today and tell them Dreamfinders Danny sent you.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. If you're going to buy an engagement ring, how much should you spend?
Frank, that's a question we hear a lot, and the guideline most often used is the equivalent of 2 months' salary. But I'll say this, the price you pay for a diamond is directly related to its beauty. If you want a big, cheap diamond, I'll guarantee you it's poor quality, and that's not what we carry at Underwoods. If you want a diamond of fine quality, cut to the right specifications for maximum beauty, not maximum weight, that's the kind of diamond we have at Underwoods. You see, when somebody's been married for a long time, they don't always remember what they paid for their engagement ring. They probably remember the sacrifice they made to pay for it. And when you consider that a diamond engagement ring will be worn every day for the rest of her life, most people will agree that a really fine quality diamond ought to be considered. That's what we specialize in at Underwoods and have since 1928.
That's Underwoods in San Marco, in Avondale, the Shops of Ponte Vedra, Underwood Jewelers.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars today on 1010XL.
This is fun. On the text line, Tony, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. I got to go back and see if this person's ever spoken a good word about Trevor Lawrence. My guess is no. But this was his reply to our interview, or his reaction to our interview with Brian Sexton there. This guy is an idiot. Wow. Better than any stretch Brunell had? What a moron. Well, all right. Let's see what Trevor Lawrence did in the final 6 games last year for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let me bring up this game
I know
log.
the schedule wasn't exactly the best, but he did to Denver what he did to Denver.
Denver had one of the best teams or best defenses in football.
Yeah.
And most people feel they would have been in the Super Bowl had they not lost their quarterback. Their quarterback did play in the game where the Jags handled them easily. He had a 115 quarterback rating in that game, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He had 5 against the Jets. Yeah, they were bad. Indy, he was good against them. He had his quarterback ratings were 111, 105, 136.7, 115, 72, and then 131.9. Go find me a similar 6-game stretch from Mark Brunell. You're not going to. I'm sorry, and I get it. Games change and all that, but if you're just looking at the raw numbers, Trevor Lawrence set the record for the most touchdowns by anyone in Jaguar history last year combined with 38. And it's not even particularly close for Mark Brunell as far as that goes. I'm not that's the numbers are the numbers. You can try to deny reality. Mark Brunell's best season in a Jaguar uniform, he threw 20 touchdowns. Okay. His year when he threw the most yards, he threw 20 interceptions, 19 touchdowns, 20 picks. Mark Brunell's a good quarterback. I'm not trying to knock Mark Brunell, but to examine his career and say it was, statistically, he did not show me the stretch that Mark Brunell had. So we talked about in 99. He threw 14 touchdowns.
Yeah.
They were 14-2. He played 15 games. He threw 14 touchdowns. And you could say, well, they won a bunch of games. Well, they won a bunch of games last year as well. I'm sure there are teams that were outclassed the moment they stepped on the field against the late 90s Jags at times as well. I'm sure there were stretches where they played teams they could beat up. Go find me the 6-game stretch that, that Mark Brunell matched those numbers. That, again, that's not to say that Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback in franchise history. Something he's maybe the most purely talented.
Yeah.
I don't think he's accomplished that yet.
Yeah. I think most of us are in a position now where if you don't think he is yet, that you expect that he's going to be in the very near future, right? Like everyone's going to be able to look at it and say, yeah, Trevor Lawrence is the best that they've ever had at the position. If he's going to continue on the path that he was on at the end of last year, and we've seen him be on that kind of run, I think it's fair, and we've had these conversations obviously a lot about Trevor, right? And our expectations and what they are, and has he met him, and all these things. Like, we've had these discussions over and over, and I often fall back on the idea of, I know that I'm not going to change anybody's mind by sharing my opinion about Trevor Lawrence at any point, right? Like, everyone has whatever their opinion of Trevor is right now locked in, at least for the moment. So if there's a portion of the fan base out there that says, I still don't believe, it's like, okay, well, there's nothing I'm going to be able to say that's going to be able to change that. Trevor Lawrence can change that with what he does on the field. I hope if you're at least open to Trevor Lawrence playing well enough for you to change your opinion on Trevor Lawrence. But if you're right now falling back on that, well, he hadn't done it in back-to-back seasons and he starts slow, it's like, okay.
Fine.
I think it's okay to fall back on that kind of thing. I don't totally agree with it, but I can understand the perspective of that kind of thing on Trevor Lawrence. But if you're of the opinion that he's never been any good and like that means that he never can be, it's like, well, now you're just being dumb, right? Like, we've seen him play very well, for stretches of his time here in Jacksonville. So he hasn't always been bad. So if your opinion of him is not at this point still, he's always been bad, he'll always be bad, no one's going to listen to another word you have to say about it because you're not adding anything to the conversation.
Yeah, it's just, look, right. If you can't acknowledge it, grudgingly even, they did pretty well last year.
Yeah.
Come on, and if you want to be fixed in your opinion and never change your mind, the funny thing to me is this guy who sent this tweet refers to Brian Sexton as this guy, as if he doesn't know who he is, and yet he wants to quote chapter and verse about Mark Brunell. Who do you think was the voice of the Jags for all that time? Like, he's not just this guy off the street.
No.
He said this guy's a terrible homer. I don't know Brian to be a homer much at all. Now, look, everybody wants the best for the Jags, and, we're trying to look for the positives, but I think Brian's a pretty straight shooter. Anyway, you're entitled to your opinion. I think Brian would laugh at that. But, show me the 6-game stretch that was comparable for Mark Brunell statistically to what Trevor did down the stretch last year.
What did he do during that final run in 96?
In 96?
Yeah.
Well, he only threw 19 touchdowns on the whole year, Tony. Trevor Lawrence had 15 in 5 games in the final 6 last year. He didn't throw one against Indianapolis in the second contest. So,
and part of the thing that happened here last year, too, and maybe we get lost in it a little bit because we are watching it, the entire time as it's going, but there was pressure every week because Houston just would not lose, right? Like, the pressure to win every week, even if the schedule did feel light at times because they did get to play Tennessee twice and the Colts had fallen off, right? Like all the things that had gone on with it, but there was still pressure to win or you're not going to win the division every week because you could see it in Houston's schedule. It's like, well, they're not losing. Right, with the way their defense was playing, it's like Houston's not going to lose.
That's the way it felt anyway.
Right, so Jacksonville knew every week going in, we're either going to win every week or we're not going to win the South. Well, they won every week, right? Like they found a way to do that every week, and I do think the quarterback for the team that gets that kind of thing done is at least it's okay to give them a little bit of credit for having that kind of thing done.
It is funny, right? The whole Trevor's garbage. He's never going to be any good. Whatever. It's so extreme, and it's so. What's your agenda on this? Like, are you truly? If you think that Trevor is absolutely horrible, I honestly question whether you're a Jag fan. Like. Were you not encouraged at all last year by what you saw in a record-setting season from your quarterback? And when I say record-setting, I mean most touchdowns ever by a quarterback in franchise history. Blake Bortles had more passing TDs in a totally thrown up for grabs type season.
Right.
And good for him. The record still counts. It still stands. But, man, this was, like you said, these were must-win games. This wasn't just, thrown up stats last year, but he was as good as he was statistically a top 3 quarterback down the stretch and maybe top 2. In some metrics, he was the best quarterback in the league in the last 6 weeks of the season. I mean, that's just the facts. And you can say, well, those don't mean as much because of the quality opponent. And clearly he's trying to say, well, these opponents all suck, as if every team the Jags played in the 90s was some world-beating squad.
Yeah, like I'm looking at the final 5-game run for Burnell right now in 1996. He went 2-2, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions in the overtime win over Baltimore, 28-25. Did he have no rushing touchdowns that week? The next week against Cincinnati, 356, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. The next week against Houston, 172, 0-0. The next week against Seattle, 231, 2-0. And then the Atlanta game to end the season, 222, 0-0, had a rushing touchdown that week. So that run was probably the best previous run maybe in Jaguars history, right? Like the most memorable run that the Jags have had until what they got done this season in a lot of ways. And Trevor's numbers were just in all areas better than what Burnell was doing on that run. And that's not to take anything away from Mark.
It's just that when you say that, I feel like you've got no historical perspective on what actually happened last year. All right, let's come back and continue the Trevor Lawrence discussion, pro or con. You can give your opinion. Doesn't mean we're going to agree with it. I guarantee you that. And 641-1010 gets you in on the Key Buick GMC phone lines on Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today. You're at the home of the Jaguars in the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Superior products, exceptional service.
First of all, congratulations on the show.
Join the 1010XL Podcast Network.
How do you like being in a real studio?
Now you can find all your favorite 1010XL podcasts in your platform of choice.
We know the madness is here, and there's no better place to watch than Fourscore Golf Tavern. Catch every buzzer beater on our huge screens while enjoying happy hour drink specials and our legendary watch party atmosphere. Want to make it even more fun? Rent a bay and bring your group for a watch party on your own private big screen. Grab your crew, grab a drink, and experience the real madness the Fourscore way. Fourscore Golf Tavern, where the tournament and the good times never stop.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on Jaguars Today. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, your long-term solution for weight loss.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins. If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein & Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein & Robbins, fighting for your rights since 1975.
Hoops action is here. Watch the madness with 1010XL and enjoy madness specials all day long. Starting with the Frangie Show live 4 till 6 at Lola's Burrito and Burger Joint on King Street in Riverside. Come in for all the action on multiple TVs and enjoy drink and food specials. Then from 6 till 10, come out to Mr. Chubby's Wings in Ponte Vedra Beach for Into the Night with Rick Ballou, then Hacker After Dark. Now that's the way to tip off the madness of March Hoop celebrations.
Jeff Breyer, president of Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring.
And I'm Nikki Sema. My dad started in business when I was just 4 years old, and now we're 35 years and 20,000 satisfied customers in, and literally have a showroom in every neighborhood.
So whether you're looking to revitalize your home with new flooring or need more outdoor living space with a glass or screen enclosure, we've got you covered.
Visit our websites and don't forget to stop by our showrooms during our open house and cookout this Saturday from 10 to 3. Come see affordable luxury, experience the Lifetime difference, and receive additional open house discounts.
Lifetime Enclosures. When you buy online, you really cannot tell because you're not looking at the stone. So it's impossible to buy a stone online that you could really see everything about it. You have to buy a diamond in person.
That's John Lupo at Beard's Diamonds, who says one big mistake is trying to buy a diamond online. Because each diamond is unique, you need to examine it for yourself.
Otherwise, you can get fooled, you can get tricked, and that's not a good thing when you're spending thousands of dollars.
At Beard's, John's son Ben says they give each customer the ability to compare multiple diamonds in their price range range, not just on paper, but up close inside and outside.
Go outside in the natural daylight. That's the best test to be able to see the exact color in the stone, see the brilliance in the stone and the fire and the scintillation, which is very, very important.
People want to know what they're spending this money on, and they also want to be protected.
That's why Beards takes it a step farther with a money-back guarantee and a trade-up policy that guarantees you will always get what you paid when you upgrade. Buy with confidence at locally owned Beards Diamonds in St. John's Town Center.
Bueller, stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, pal.
Stand back, Jason. I'm gonna
Sneeze? Yeah, I saw that coming.
It's all this spring pollen, Jason. It's outside and it's inside my house, and I just can't stop. I can't stop.
Sneezing? Okay, let me help you with that.
How can you help?
At Bueller Air and Plumbing, we can improve your indoor air quality with air purifiers, UV lights, and filtration systems. Every new system we install includes high-efficiency 4-inch filters that work better and last longer, even if you forget to change them.
Wow, that's amazing. It's amazing.
Life can get pretty dusty sometimes. If you spend all day, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Jaguars today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
A variety of reactions, Tony, to the Trevor Lawrence discourse. One, hey, Burnell never wore a grill. So obviously that goes big check mark in Trevor's column for sure. Then you got, I mean, there's extremes on both sides, right? If there's one thing I'm going to disagree with that Brian Sexton said, I don't disagree with him talking about that stretch of games. I mean, statistically, it's backed up. You can talk about the importance of that, but the raw numbers are the raw numbers. It's when you asked him, what was it, the idea, how many league MVPs
scale of 1 to
Trevor
10
would win? How likely is it that Trevor will win an MVP? 7 is strong, man. That's pretty high. Like 70% chance that Trevor Lawrence is going to win an MVP. I think I'd play the 30% chance that he won't, because only one guy can win it every year. And he starts out, like it or not, every year. Who are the candidates? Allen, Mahomes, Lamar, Burrow, right? Every year in your conference, and I get it, Mahomes hurt right now, but you get the general idea of that. Small market, all this stuff, and Trevor did play exceptionally well, and it put him 5th last year in a year where he set records across the board. Could he win one? Yeah, but I would put, to me, it'd be like a 2 out of 10, something like that, because it's only, again, it doesn't mean he can't be a Pro Bowler. Doesn't mean he can't win Super Bowls. There's only one league MVP, and they tend to get hoarded. Guys tend to win multiples of them, it feels like. So, I mean, maybe he will, and I hope Brian's right, but that, to me, was one that I'm not willing to follow.
Well, generally speaking, the MVP is obviously a quarterback, but even bigger than that, they're a quarterback on a team that is, by the time you get to the end of the season and the voting's going on, a team that everyone's looking at as a Super Bowl favorite team, right? That's generally how that award works. You don't vote for it after the playoffs, so it doesn't mean that the MVP is the guy who wins the thing. Like Stafford won it last year, right? Won the MVP, but the Rams were being talked about as a Super Bowl favorite.
Sure.
You know, by the time you got to the end of the season last year. So it's the quarterback for a team that when you get to the end of the season, everyone's given, they had great numbers on the season and they're hyping them up as they have a real opportunity to win a Super Bowl. Now, Trevor obviously got the little bit of noise in the MVP that he got this year, right? I do wonder if, you know, and we've talked about that Cincinnati game over and over and over, but if that game had been flipped and the right outcome had happened in that game,
and nothing else changes other than the right call.
Right.
Yeah.
So if they go 14-3, and if they're, I don't know what that would have meant for whether or not they'd be the 1 seed in the AFC, right? Like, I don't know if that would have been enough to get them over the top, because I know New England finished at 14-3 too. So I don't know if that would have been enough to get them to jump,
right?
You know, to that point. But if Jacksonville had been the 1 seed in the AFC, how much louder would the noise for Trevor
Maybe
at
a little.
MVP.
I still don't think he would have won it.
It wouldn't caught Stafford. Like, the noise for Stafford was really, really loud.
And had been all year. And Stafford's numbers were sick.
But that gives you a picture of what that MVP kind of thing has to be. Like, you're going to be the quarterback on the hot team. That's usually what it is. It's the quarterback for the team that everyone thinks is one of, if not the Super Bowl favorite by the time you get to the end of the regular season.
All right, sniffing a good pop quiz coming up. Thank you to the person who just sent me the Vegas Insider MVP odds for 2026, Tony. You and RJ Saunders, without peeking, will need to come up with the 13 players who have shorter odds than Trevor Lawrence. And I'm giving you a whole 5 minutes to study it because we're going to take a time out here. We're going to make, I actually put a little science or pseudoscience to my predictions for Trevor Lawrence this year. And I came up with a formula, and I felt like the final numbers, I feel pretty good that I can stand. I'm like, you know what? That seems like they're reasonable in every single category. We're asking you today, your Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day, to project Trevor Lawrence's season: passing yards, passing touchdowns, interceptions, rushing yards, rushing touchdowns. Okay. Those are the 5 main categories. It's all spelled out. If you go to @MD_1010XL on the X platform, and you can weigh in with your thoughts on that if you would like. Hour 2 on the way. This is Jaguars Today. We've got Chad Ryder coming up as well, talking a little draft in Hour 2 on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today. From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
What are you doing? You touched that switch and... Which one, this?
1010.
More power.
10XL.
When you drive past a Kuhn Flowers location, did you know their inside showroom is filled with gift items? Kuhn Flowers isn't just for sending flowers. Frank Frangie here. And when I need a unique gift, I head for Kuhn Flowers, Beach Boulevard and in Ponte Vedra since 1947. Kuhn Flowers.
Helping you over the hump. Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Weight Loss Wednesday continues on Jaguars Today.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. At Orthopedic Specialists of Jacksonville, we know not every injury happens on game day. Sometimes it's rolling your ankle, weekend yard work, or just playing catch with your kids. That's why we built a team of fellowship-trained orthopedic surgeons, experts in everything from knees and shoulders to spine and sports injuries in hand. Whether you're chasing championships or chasing your dog, we've got you. Learn more at osjax.com. That's osjax.com.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists congratulate the 1010XL Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Jada Mincy, senior cheerleader, weightlifter, and track and field athlete at First Coast High School. She's the president of the National Honor Society and has been accepted to attend FSU.
Firehouse Subs is adding a new heavy hitter to the roster, the Chicken and Cheddar Rancher. Grilled chicken, melted cheddar, crispy bacon stacked high with fresh toppings, creamy buttermilk ranch. The Chicken and Cheddar Rancher, only at Firehouse Subs.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
PGA Tour star Ricky Fowler.
If you want to be the best, you have to practice with the best. That's why I had Southwest Greens install and maintain my putting green, and my synthetic lawn, and my chipping area, and my practice bunker area, and my bocce ball court, and our pole vaulting area.
Southwest Greens is the world's premier manufacturer and installer of putting greens, synthetic grass, chipping areas, practice bunkers, and just about anything else you want to do in your yard.
It's Southwest Greens.
Log on to southwestgreensofjacksonville.com to see what they can do to your backyard.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just the job, but an experienced, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Free agency profiles are covered by Premier Outdoor Inc., a visionary of hardscapes and aquatics.
Jacksonville played it coy in the free agent game, avoiding the big splash. Their best move was re-signing cornerback Monteric Brown for 3 years and $33 million. After losing Etienne to New Orleans, they found help in former Washington running back Chris Rodriguez. Liam Cohen is familiar with his skill set after coaching him at Kentucky. It's 2 years in teal for the former Wildcat.
Checkmate. I'm Brendan Cecilia, founder of Checkmate Coatings.
And I'm Chester, Checkmate's mascot and brand ambassador.
Why do you even talk in these ads?
People see me on the trucks, Brendan, so they expect to hear from me as well.
But I have over a decade's experience personally installing high-quality polymer floors right here in Jacksonville.
Well, I'm a professional mascot, riding around on the side of your trucks, smiling at passers-by.
Then could you at least tell people about our 2-stage polymer application process? Give your garage the finishing touch with a gorgeous floor that's guaranteed to last?
A bit busy posing for selfies, I'm afraid.
Years of experience?
Check. Adorable mascot?
Check. The team you need to make your garage gorgeous? Checkmate!
Transforming your floors, making them great. Checkmate.
Visit checkmatecoatings.com. That's checkmatecoatings.com.
This is your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm RJ Saunders for 1010XL. This update brought to you by Chad and Sandy Real Estate. Florida's Thomas Houck and Ruben Chinyelu earned recognition as the Associated Press All-Americans on Tuesday, with Houck being named to the third team and Chinyelu being an honorable mention. Chinyelu is in the midst of the best rebounding season by a Gator in the last 50 years, already been named the Southeastern Conference Defensive Player of the Year and Scholar Athlete of the Year, as well as being an AP first team All-SEC performer. Houck adds to his All-American honors, having been named second team All-American by the Sporting News. The Gators open the NCAA tournament play on Friday in Tampa versus either Lehigh or Prairie View A&M. 55 degrees at 11:02. Time and 10 brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars today on 1010XL.
All right, RJ, let's fire up some Quiz Your Brains music. That's what we'll call it. Quiz Your Brains music around here. What are we going with? Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Are you
Sounds
Tony's
like
phone a friend, or are you guys gonna combine on this?
Yeah, I think we're just doubles partners.
Partners.
This is a new feature here on Who Wants to Be.
All right, this is doubles, men's doubles here, and we're going off the DraftKings odds to win MVP in 2026. Somebody sent me these on the text line. Appreciate that, because you'll find some of the betting sites have other guys ahead of Trevor Lawrence, or some will have the same guy behind him, but we're going off DraftKings where there are 13 players.
Yeah,
with shorter
13
odds.
is the tough thing for me. Like, there was a list of 10 that I put together pretty quick, and I'm like, I'm very confident these are in the 10.
All right, let's see how many, if we can do it without getting 3 strikes. Tony, give me a name.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, number 1, plus 550. Bet 100, win 550 on Josh Allen. Who you got?
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson, number 2. Don't overthink it. Plus 650. RJ's like, could it be Lamar?
Yeah.
Yes, he's number 2.
There's 13 of them, man. Yeah,
Number 2
Patrick
on the list.
Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes is number 3 on the freaking list. Are you kidding me? Patrick Mahomes is number 3 on the list? If I had a $1,000 to burn, I'd bet 1,000 that he won't win it, so I could get that $100 profit. He is plus 1,000 at the third shortest odds. You've gotten him in order so far. RJ.
Let's go with the Super Bowl quarterback runner-up, Drake.
Drake May, plus 1,100. He is officially 6th overall. There are 2 guys tied with Mahomes at plus 1,000. Tony.
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow is one of those guys at plus 1,000. RJ.
Stafford?
Stafford is plus 1,400. Why not? He just won the MVP, right? I mean, come on. You're running it back. Devontae might get traded. No, he's not. All right. We got Puka. We're going to throw for a bunch of yards and touchdowns. Tony.
Bo Nix.
Bo Nix. That's my annoying strike noise right there.
Really?
Strike one. Bo Nix at plus 3,500. Now, maybe that changes a little bit in the next few days with the Jalen Waddle addition. But Bo Nix across the board, any site you look at, Trevor Lawrence has shorter MVP odds than Bo Nix. So that's strike one. RJ.
Joe Burrow?
He already said Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to give you a strike for being
How about a half a strike?
all right, half a strike for being not paying good enough attention on that one. Tony Smith.
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts just ahead. If you, depending on this, actually, they're tied with the same odds, but Hurts is listed first. So I'm counting him as one of the 13.
Okay.
They're both at plus 2,200 on DraftKings, which, by the way, are the longest odds. Trevor Lawrence in most spots is like plus 14 to plus 1,600, which means they think he has a better chance than DraftKings does. So this may be the site that gives him the least credit. All right, Jalen Hurts is one of the 13. Who you got?
It was made for me and you, as the song likes to claim. So I'll go Love. That being Jordan Love.
You're going Jordan Love, are you? Well, you're correct. Plus 1,500 for Jordan Love. Tony Smith.
Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert is tied with Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes at plus 1,000. We've had Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Drake May, Matthew Stafford, Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts, and an incorrect guess on Bo Nix. Who you got?
Why wouldn't they put a cowboy in this? Dak Prescott?
Dak Prescott is plus 1,300, coming in right behind Drake May. Tony Smith.
Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams comes in at plus 1,400, tied with Matt Stafford. RJ.
He's the first trainer you have to play in Pokemon if you're playing blue or red. His name is Brock Purdy.
Oh, Pikachu Jones.
Right.
What is going on?
Brock is the first.
Brock Purdy. You're going with Brock Purdy with better MVP odds than Trevor Lawrence? Well, you're correct. Yeah. All right. Plus 1,800.
There's got to be 13 of them.
RJ's like, I just throw that hook out there, reel him in real quick. We've got one left. I think we got one left. All right. We went Allen, Lamar, Mahomes, Burrow, Herbert, May, Prescott, Stafford, Caleb, Jordan Love, Purdy, and Hurts. There's only one left, Tony.
I'm debating between a couple of guys.
Okay.
Because he was close to it a couple years ago, I'd go Jaden Daniels.
That is correct. Jaden Daniels. See, I knew you guys would do well.
I was thinking him or Sam Darnold.
Bo Nix is who is the first non-quarterback on the list? By the way, other guys, before you even get to non-quarterbacks, you'd have to go past Michael Penix, Tyler Shuck, Bryce Young. This is how much it is a quarterback award, right? I mean, that's what it is. So when, Brian Sexton says, I'll give you a 7 out of 10 that Trevor wins one, well, at least he's playing the right position in today's NFL. Who's the highest graded at plus 12,000 for the highest non-quarterback? Who you got?
My guess would be Jahmyr Gibbs.
You'd guess Jahmyr Gibbs. What would you guess, RJ?
Goodness. Stupidly Saquon?
No, you should have gone with Tony. Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, I was thinking him or Bijan.
Puka coming in. RJ's just dinging everything now. Puka's at plus 15,000. So is Bijan. So is McCaffrey. Plus 20,000 starts with this. If this doesn't tell you that only quarterbacks win this award, Deshaun frickin' Watson.
Oh, wow.
Now, plus 20,000, crazy long odds, but he's tied with Devon Achane. Of course, Devon Achane ain't winning MVP, I doubt. Yeah. But Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett, for instance, is at plus 20,000. Defensive player of the year. Chance of a defensive player. Is
Are Micah and Myles at the same number?
Micah and Myles are at the same number, yeah, plus 20,000. Micah coming off torn ACL. And Garrett coming off, 23 sacks? Is LT the last league MVP who played defense, not defensive player of the year? I think he might be.
I think that's correct, yeah.
I mean, it's good luck with that.
Any other Jaguars on the list at all?
You're probably flushing money to put it on a defensive player. Shedeur Sanders plus 20,000. So you got a couple of Browns quarterbacks on here. I'm looking. With Travis Hunter. Because of name recognition, right? Plus 20,000. So there's a huge group at plus 20,000, but he would be the next Jag. This, again, according to DraftKings, Sportsbook, what have you. Take it for what it's worth. Mac Jones coming in at plus 30 grand. Look, if Brock Purdy goes down, they got a team, right? If he gets traded to another team in the right if he gets traded to Pittsburgh, for instance, and Pittsburgh wins the division, I mean, he is a quarterback. So anyway, there you go. I knew you guys would do well. Tony crushes, you will learn, RJ, in any kind of NFL pop quiz. Let's talk draft next with Chad Ryder from NFL.com. What has changed, if anything? Who are the guys, the buzziest players right now heading into the final 5 weeks before the NFL draft, coming out of the combine and all that good stuff? We'll get to that coming up next. Then back on the Trevor Lawrence front, our projections for 2026 coming up on Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. 1010XL takes you behind the microphone.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
No, what are you doing? What are you doing? No, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Mornings on 1010XL.
Homeowners, you taking a look at your lawn yet? Let me guess, you're looking at your lawn wondering what to do after a historically cold season. Well, if you want your lawn to bounce back quick, you gotta call topdressing.com. Nobody else can do what they do. Their proprietary process. I've never seen anything like it, and neither will your neighbors. They will have your lawn looking like a golf course. Nobody else can do it. They're no secret now, so get ahead of it. Call for a free estimate. Be the envy of your neighbors. Top dress your lawn like the pros with topdressing.com.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday
on Jaguars Today.
Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
When your home or business deserves more than ordinary glass, you trust the experts. Capital Glass and Shower Doors has been elevating spaces for over 40 years with precision, craftsmanship, and clean, modern design. From sleek frameless shower enclosures to elegant glass railings, wine cabinets, and any custom glass that makes a statement, Capital Glass delivers unmatched quality, service, and attention to detail. Your vision, their expertise. Capital Glass and Shower Doors at capcoglass.com.
What if the next roof you put on your home was the last one? Not another replacement in 15 or 20 years, the last roof. Metlock Roofing is Florida's only manufacturer and installer of this exclusive roofing system. Engineered for strength, built for Florida weather, backed by a lifetime warranty. Imagine never needing another roof. Call 938-9933 or visit metlokroofing.com. Get your last roof today with Metlock. License number CCC 1335581.
From the tee to the green and everywhere in between. Join Dan, Jeff, and PGA pros for Brunch with the Tour. Teed up by Clearwater Irrigation, Tuesday morning at 8:30 on Jacksonville's Golf Station, 1010XL.
Come visit the best sports restaurant in town. That's Big Dogs in Orange Park, known for great burgers, huge wings, pizza, salads, and special nightly events like trivia and karaoke. You'll all love it at Big Dogs Restaurant in Orange Park.
Frank Frangie here for Coil Fencing. Since 1927, Jacksonville has trusted Coil Fencing to protect what matters. And I trust them too. From tough chain link to your commercial project to sleek aluminum fencing your HOA will love, Coil does it all. Did you know that Coil can also install, service, and maintain those automatic gates that help protect your neighborhood or business? To schedule a complimentary consultation, visit CoilJacks.com. That's COYLE Jacks.com. Coil Fencing, A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
We're certainly facing interesting economic times. For me, it's comforting to know my money's in good hands with ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. Experience? Yeah, that's Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reed Wingate. They have the expertise and knowledge to take care of your money. For more info, go to itppartners.com. ITP Partners, they're my financial partners for life.
Non-compensated client testimonial may not be representative of all client experiences. No guarantee of future performance or success.
Budweiser reminds us to drink wiser, like hydrating between beers. It keeps the fun going longer, and it's a commitment to responsibility. Remember, good times are ahead, so no need to overdo it. Know when to say when, and always designate a driver.
Save big and head to Ronnie's Repair on Sunbeam Road, your local sales and servicing Toro dealer, for their spring sales event next week. Ronnie's offers the full line of residential and commercial Toro zero-turn, stand-on, and walk-behind mowers in gas and battery options. Get groundbreaking savings on Toro Time Cutter, Titan, and Z-Master zero-turns, Grandstand multi-force stand-ons, and walk-behind mowers. Take advantage of the Toro 0% financing or Toro rebate on select mowers. Stop in next week between the 25th and 27th to check out great deals and amazing finance offers. Ronnie's has everything you need to make your lawn look the best in the neighborhood. For more details on spring sales event deals, visit your local Toro dealer. Ronnie's Repair on Sunbeam Road. Browse the entire Toro line at ronniesrepairshop.net. All handhelds and accessories will be 10% off during the spring sales event.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars today on 1010XL.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, time to talk a little NFL draft around these parts. Got a lot of things out of the way. Got the combine out of the way. Around these parts, got the Players' Championship out of the way, Tony. Our focus moving forward will be mostly on the NFL draft. Chad Ryder does an excellent job covering it for NFL.com, and he joins us now. Chad, good morning.
Good morning. I'm sorry I didn't make the cut at the Players. Come see you guys this year. I'll try next year.
Bro, you got an open invitation. You know, we hang out. You got all access. They feed us well. It's a great environment. We'd love to have you down here. So just keep it in mind.
That sounds. I'm putting that on my calendar to call you guys next year.
Yeah, and between the three of us, somebody will have a couch available for you, man. You know, we wouldn't make it.
Great.
You know,
Perfect.
couch. We got parking, we got transportation, we got it all covered for you, bro. So come on down and
pond's good for me.
Yeah, all right, pool or a pond. Pond is good. That's one of the favorite quotes in the Dempsey household. My wife and I are constantly telling each other a pond is good for the other one. All right. So Chad, we come out of the combine, we learned some different things, and one of those is that Caleb Banks, probably a tough son of a gun, be able to work out with a broken foot. But more importantly, Caleb Banks got a broken foot. This is a guy I've seen projected pretty consistently in that 20 to 30 range in the first round, the defensive tackle out of Florida. What do you say in terms of what you're hearing about how far he might fall in the draft?
Well, I'm getting ready to put out a 4-round mock on Friday.
Love it.
And right now, I'm trying to decide if he's going to end up being in the middle of the first round with a team like the Buccaneers, who are going to have to replace Vita Vea potentially after this upcoming year. Or maybe the Texans could look at him at 28. So I'm kind of flipping my thought process back and forth here, and I have to decide eventually. But the fact is that guys that big, that move like that, are just rare. And if you're looking for a guy to fill your front line and give you some pass rush, which is weird to say for a 330-plus pounder, but he can do that for you. So I think despite that foot injury, I think teams are going to, and despite the fact that he missed some time this year, I think teams will overlook that and put him in that, somewhere in the mid to late first round.
It sounds like Caleb Banks certainly qualifies for this and could be the top guy on this kind of list, Chad. But who are the best pass rushing defensive tackle prospects in this draft?
Well, for his size, he's certainly in the conversation. When you're looking at pure pass rushers, you've got Grayson Holton from Oklahoma, probably go a lot higher than people think. Probably going to have him in the top 50 in my mock. He's just explosive off the snap, and he's going to be really, really good. The Monday Capehart from Clemson's an interesting guy because Clemson rotates their tackles a lot, and so he doesn't have big numbers, but the athleticism is off the charts. And given more regular playing time in a one-gap system, I think he could probably get after the quarterback. Rashawn Benny from Michigan is another guy that had to play behind some really good players there and has the athleticism to really chase quarterbacks from the interior too. So there are some options, for teams looking for that kind of player.
Talking here with Chad Ryder from NFL.com. Chad, a lot of speculation. I think the betting markets have moved to make Jeremiah Love the favorite to go to the Tennessee Titans at 4 right now. Obviously we keep an eye on our division opponents here. Looking at DJ Daniel Jeremiah's newest mock out there at NFL.com. He's got Mendoza 1, Arvell Reese 2, and Francis Maunoa going to the Cardinals at 3. In that scenario, do you think the Titans would go pass rush based on what they've done this offseason, or would Love be too tempting to pass up? And should Jaguar fans be concerned if he lands in the AFC South?
Well, if he does, yes, they should be concerned because he's a beast to handle. I still think that the Titans have to look at a pass rusher, even though Jermaine Johnson was brought into the fold. They're so thin there, and they have some talent at running back, and you can find one a little bit later. I think the smart move there is to go David Bailey, and that's my opinion. But look, you can make an argument that Love, is certainly willing. If the Titans don't take him at 4, the Giants will probably take him at 5. That's how good he is. So I think either way, AFC South fans are going to either see Bailey chasing after their quarterback or Love running down the field. It's kind of a no-win scenario.
Yeah, for me personally, and this is just more, feelings based. I don't want to see Tennessee potentially get their next, quote, Derrick Henry. I'm not saying they're the same style of back. You know what I mean? Just a guy who can give identity to that backfield for the next 8 years or so. I see, and again, DJ, and we'll see your mock, and we can't wait for the 4-rounder on Friday, but he's got Jadarian Price going 32nd at Seattle. Seattle's got a big hole now with Kenneth Walker gone. You just mentioned a moment ago, running back is the spot you might just be able to grab a guy later, but I do hear that it's one of the spots that after the 2 Notre Dame guys drops off significantly. Jags plugged the hole by going out and getting Chris Rodriguez and not waiting around for the draft. Do you think that was smart, or would they have been better looking for a value in round 3 or 4 to complement Bajal Tootin?
Well, I think getting Rodriguez is smart. I mean, they also picked up DJ Dallas, and you can find some other guys that can, fill that role. And if a good value is available for them, I wouldn't blame them for taking a look. I'd consider that. For example, at the end of the 3rd round, I had them looking at a guy like Mike Washington from Arkansas. But I think I'm not as high on Jadarian Price as others. So I think Seattle's better off fixing their secondary first.
Okay.
And looking at guys a little bit later. So actually I have them now taking Mike Washington just a couple picks ahead of Jacksonville at the end of the 3rd round. So, but that's my take. Price is sort of a 1-speed back to me, and those guys don't always turn out. Sort of like Caleb Johnson was coming out of Iowa. A lot of people loved him as a 1st or early 2nd round guy, and Price is better than Johnson, but I think that they have some of the similar characteristics.
How deep into the draft do you think the Jags might be able to find an off-ball linebacker that could start from day 1?
I think you could probably go into round 5. For example, right now, I don't have them taking one in the first 4 rounds. But I think if they can line up, look, linebacker is a spot you can get a guy, right? So guys like Caleb Elam-R from TCU, Aiden Fisher from Indiana could be sitting there in the 5th round. Deontay Lawson from Alabama could be sitting there in the 5th round. Josiah Trotter from Missouri, his brother didn't go until round 5. And that might be the case for him. So there's going to be a lot of guys sitting there waiting to be called, early in the middle of the 5th round. I'm just looking for Jacksonville's picks. Yeah, they're kind of in the middle of the 5th round. They should, if they don't find somebody that they really gives them the best value, I think they can find somebody at that point.
Well, let's say they don't. Let's say they go the other way and they say, this glaring hole. It is a pretty good linebacker group this year. So, we play around with some of these mock draft generators, man. I don't know how realistic it is to think that whether Jacob Rodriguez or Jake Golday or any of these guys that are considered more 2nd round guys are likely to be there at 56. But they've got a guy in Jack Kaiser that they see as the heir apparent potentially to Boye Oluwakin, right, as a middle. But to replace Devin Lloyd kind of as a strong side guy who can do some covering, who can rush the passer a little bit, who can, show some sideline to sideline speed, who are the guys likely to be worth the pick at 56 that fit that mold?
Well, I'm pretty sure Gouldet will be available at that point. To me, he sort of reminds me of Drew Sanders, so I value him as more of a third-round guy.
Okay.
But Anthony Hill is another guy from Texas who's going to be in consideration at that point. And so you've got some options. In the third, I think it kind of runs on. I think there's a gap between the third and the late fourth for a linebacker, and then you're going to see a run at that point. So I think they could, let's just say they really like Harold Perkins from LSU, or they really like, one of the guys I mentioned earlier, like Bryce Betcher from Oregon, for example. They can grab him in the fourth round. I just think you're really, unless somebody like a Rodriguez or something falls further than expected in round two, I just don't know that the value there. On the other hand, I don't project trades in these later rounds.
Okay.
So teams will go up and go get a guy, which might push somebody else down. That's part of the thing you can't account for.
Who are some of your favorite prospects at wide receiver that you expect could be available to the Jags by the time they pick at 56 and even into the third round?
I think they have some options. Like I love Parker Washington. Really have liked him since he came out of Penn State. I can't believe they got him in the sixth round. But I think if you're looking for a speedy guy, Zachariah Branch is going to be your guy at that part of the draft. If you're looking for a bigger target, they might have an interesting decision to make on Malachi Fields from Notre Dame, because he's just not fast or sudden in any way. But once he gets downfield, he can be a beast. And teams are going to have to decide where they want to select him. And I'm guessing it's going to be late second round. So they could find him available there. Do they take a chance on Chris Bell from Louisville, who could have been in the first round conversation before his injury? That's a guy who's going to be looked at for a not as quite as talented AJ Brown, but that kind of receiver. Elijah Surratt from Indiana is another guy. I think there's some talent if you're willing to take some shots. In round three. Oh, and Bryce Lance from North Dakota State doesn't get a lot of pub, but he's a really solid third round guy. Trey's brother, obviously, and I don't know, maybe the Chargers will try to reconnect them on their roster, but that's another guy to look for in round three.
Yeah, he's a big guy too. No chance Denzel Boston's still there at 56, right?
I wouldn't think so. No, I think he's going to kind of be like T. Higgins, where he goes in the first one or two spots of round two.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I got him in one of those mock draft simulators. I was like, he's not going to be there, but I'm taking him because I'm not going to get him again.
Well, yeah.
At 56. All right. Let's wrap up with this. Ruben Bain, the short arm discussion. Has he been tough for you to figure where he's going to come off the board? And if not, who has been the toughest guy right now to assign a proper spot to?
It's Keldrick Falk from Auburn. In a draft where guys like Bain and Cassius Howell and these guys just don't have a lot of length, you just wonder if a team like New Orleans or Kansas City is going to take a chance on that guy in the top 10 and just say he's got all the measurables. It's not like he's not a productive player. He's been rack up a bunch of sacks. And I think Travon Walker, you can argue whether he should have been the number one pick or not, but he's a guy that wasn't unnecessarily super productive, but he's a pretty good player. And I think if a team like New Orleans, who needs to replace Cameron Jordan, certainly next year, if not this year, on the other hand, I could see him falling all the way down to the bottom of the first round, like a Greg Rousseau did when he go to the Bills. So he's sort of that guy that's all over the place for me.
All right, fair enough. Chad Ryder, NFL.com. We will eagerly anticipate your 4-round mock. We feel
No
like
doubt.
you're doing them specifically for us because we don't have a pick until 56. But regardless,
I'm not gonna lie. I think about you guys every time. Okay, who am I gonna ask me about when I put on this?
Amen, brother. Well, we appreciate you always being available and coming on. We'll look forward to doing it another time or two before the actual draft gets here, Chad. Good luck with the mock and the fine tuning in the final 48 hours. And folks can follow Chad at Chad_Ryder. That's REUTER on X. Chad, all the best, man, until we talk again.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you, buddy. There he goes, Chad Ryder from NFL.com. Another 25 minutes or so to go. We'll come back. Projection time for Trevor Lawrence. I put a scientific method to the test, Tony, and I'm very happy.
He's created
with
an
the
algorithm.
results.
Yeah.
I've created a monster is what I've created. I've got an algorithm, and I'll explain it all when we come back in a moment on Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. What's 1010XL's starting lineup?
The starting lineup.
Hicken and Prosser in the morning. Dipsy and Fat Tony with the Jazz. Joe C, Matt and Leon middays. Tommy, Lauren and Taylor. Helmets and heels. Frenchie and Carline drive you home. Baloo and Hacker in the evening. Live and local all day. 1010XL.
For 25 years, Instant Keys has been the go-to locksmith service for car keys, transponders, and even high-tech smart locks. For honest, professional locksmith service,
Instant Keys comes to you.
You know, Mr. Chubby's Wings is giving away free beer again this year for the Madness Tournament.
Do they really give you a free pint of Budweiser for each game you pick right?
Yes, all you gotta do is fill out your bracket now at 1010XL.com. Overall winner gets tickets to Welcome to Rockville on Saturday. But for free beer, just download your bracket, print it out, and bring it into any Mr. Chubby's Wings location during the games. Every game you pick right, you get a free beer.
Go to 1010XL.com now. It's the Free Beer Chubby Madness Bracket Challenge. See Mr. Chubby's Wings Facebook for full contest details.
Yo, ET here. And you know that on the field, preparation wins championships, right? Well, the same goes for your health. Right here in my side of town in Fleming Island, Encore Research Group is helping locals take charge through cutting-edge research studies. Everything from weight loss to diabetes and hypertension. Their team of local, multi-specialty doctors is focused on advancing medicine and keeping our community healthy. If you want to see if you qualify, check them out at EncoreDocs.com.
Renewal by Anderson is kicking off their 31-day spring savings event. For a limited time, buy 2 replacement windows or doors and get the third 60% off. Plus, enjoy 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for 18 months. Our acclaimed impact windows are built for Florida, helping reduce energy costs and keeping your home comfortable all year long. Offer ends March 31st. Restrictions apply. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free in-home consultation. License CGC 1527613. Renewal by Anderson, where comfort meets savings.
Beat the spring cleaning rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. Hey, Hicken here. Springing forward feels better on freshly cleaned carpets and floors. Let Zero Res remove lingering grime and prepare your home for the brighter days ahead. Check out all of the raging customer reviews online. 4.9 Google rating. This month, $50 per room of carpet clean. Let's take 25% off hard floor cleaning. Hardwood tile LVP when you ask for the 1010XL special. Call 904-287-5727 or go online at ZeroResJacksonville.com. Spell it forward or backward. It spells the same. Zero Res.
If you've ever sat in a dealership waiting room, you know the coffee's cold, the magazines are old, and your oil change takes forever. At Valvoline Instant Oil Change, it's completely different. No appointment, no waiting room. You stay in your car, and the techs get it done in 15 minutes. That's why Valvoline holds a 4.7 national rating, and Forbes named them #1 quick lube in America for customer service. Don't waste your day at a dealership. Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Quick, easy, done.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. What's better than beer? Cold beer. Put your company logo on a custom koozie. Check them out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
I'm Frank Frangie. Life-changing is an understatement for the 180 I've seen with my daughter Amber. She's now lost over 100 pounds with Awaken 180 in just 9 months. A true 180. Not just on the scale either, in her energy, her confidence, the way she lives. And what I love about Awaken 180 is we knew it would work. It wasn't a hope. It wasn't a guess that maybe it'll work. Amber started the programming knowing this was going to be her solution. Now, you've heard stories from our hosts and clients and probably people you know personally who've reclaimed their life thanks to Awaken 180. It works for the person who needs to lose 25 pounds. It worked for Matt Hayes, who wanted to lose 40. It worked for Hacker, who's lost more than 120 pounds. And it's worked for Amber, who's well over 100. That's why I believe in it. Whatever your scale number is, call the number that will work for you. 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com. Once again, that number is 844-346-1800 or you can reach them online at awaken180weightloss.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the Monahan's golden moment. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, your local family jewelers.
All right, Trevor Lawrence projections upcoming. Tony Smith first regales us with tales from the NFL.
Now, gems around the NFL, brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Houston has agreed to terms on a 2-year, $16 million deal with guard Wyatt Teller. The deal is a maximum value of $23 million.
3-time Pro Bowler, right?
Yeah. Indianapolis is signing corner Cam Taylor-Britt to a 1-year deal. The Colts have also signed former Notre Dame basketball player Carson Tout. They plan to try to play him at tight end. Tout has never played football at any level before in his life, he says. Philadelphia is signing wide receiver Marquise Hollywood Brown to a 1-year deal worth up to $6.5 million. New Orleans corner Beanie Bishop has been suspended for the first 3 games of the 2026 season.
Beanie.
The NFL didn't release any reason when they gave him the suspension, but a report there in New Orleans indicates that it is substances of abuse.
Oh, wow. You got to get caught a few times on that, don't you?
Yeah.
These days. So looking at yesterday's news was Jalen Waddle getting traded from Miami to Denver. And, man, it's kind of crazy. Here's the post, and I will assume every stat in this is 100% accurate because people have been making these in the last 24 hours. Jalen Waddle's contract. Now, granted, I heard Denver's going to only pay a fraction of it. That Miami's picking up a chunk. But Jalen Waddle's contract, $28.3 million a year. DJ Moore, $24.5. So a little less expensive for DJ Moore overall. Waddle turns 28 this year. Moore turns 29. So fairly close in terms of future longevity.
Yeah.
Miami gave up picks 30 and 94 in their deal, but they got a little swap back in their direction in the fourth. Buffalo gave up 60 and got 128 back. Last 2 years, DJ Moore has had more catches. He's had only 6 fewer yards. He's had more touchdowns, more rushing yards, more rushing touchdowns. Like across, he's been healthier, played more games. DJ Moore has been better than Jalen Waddle statistically. And he's only a year older, and Buffalo got him for what now looks like a song compared to what Denver gave up for Jalen Waddle yesterday. I mean, you know, again, Miami picking up some of the cost of it, but a first and a third on the front end of it, pretty pricey in my book. Anyway, all right, so here's the algorithm, Tony. Here's what I did last year. Here are the numbers Trevor Lawrence put up last year, first of all, to remind you. 4,007 passing yards, 29 passing touchdowns, 12 interceptions. He then ran for 359 yards, and he scored 9 rushing touchdowns as well. So what I did, I took his 5 best games. I added all up the stats, divided by 5, multiplied by 17, assuming he plays every game this year. Then I also took his worst 5 games, did the same thing. Then I weighted them. How much do I think he'll lean towards his first 5 or his best 5 compared to his worst 5? So I gave it a 60-40 split, right? Which still gives you room. It's not always going to be the peak, but, you know, gives you room for a couple of stinkers along the way. So here are the numbers if he just played like he did in his best 5 games, which were the 5 when I say best, I did it strictly on passer rating, okay? Are there flaws in the formula? Probably so. So I took his 5 highest passer rating games and took his 5 lowest passer rating games this year. If he played the full season at the peak of his 5 best games, he'd throw for 4,546 yards, 51 touchdowns, not a single interception.
Okay.
Right? He'd run for 663 yards, and he'd score 17 rushing TDs. That's the pace that Trevor Lawrence was on. It was 5 of the last 6 games last year.
Yeah, what was Lamar Jackson's numbers a couple of years ago?
He was like 40-something and 4, I think, in the TD to interception ratio, something like that, right?
Yeah.
But so it's absurd, right?
Yeah, so he's outpacing that by 70%.
He's not throwing 51 touchdowns with 0 interceptions, right? But that shows you the level he was at last year. Okay, you take his worst 5 games and say this is how he's going to play next year. Trevor would throw for 3,539 yards. He would throw for 7 touchdowns. He would throw 17 interceptions. He would run for 129 yards and 3 scores. That would be on the low end. So 60-40 split. And I was very happy with the numbers, the way they came out. I'd probably bump down the rushing just a little bit. But the passing numbers, 41-43, very reasonable, right? About 140 more than last year. 33.4 touchdowns. You want to round up? You want to round down? 33 or 34 passing TDs. I think well within range. He threw for 29 last year. He would throw, in that case, 7 interceptions. Okay, so 33 and 7. Are you kidding me? Maybe Brian's right and bump that 7 up to 8 on Trevor's MVP odds. Run for 449 and 11 touchdowns. I'd probably take a little off the top there. I'd say probably bump that right back down to about maybe 360 again. But the rushing, I don't see any reason why he can't run for 7 or so touchdowns again this year. But I would say those are a little bit high, 450 and 11 on the ground. So I'm going to go with 41-50, 33, and 7 for the touchdown interception ratio. Probably about somewhere around 360, and I'll call it 8 rushing scores, which may be a little bullish. He's not going to do that every single year. But nevertheless, what do you end up with?
Well, I was looking at some of the numbers from the league in general last year.
Okay.
Right. Do you know how many quarterbacks threw for 4,000 yards in the league?
5.
6.
I was
Trevor Lawrence was the 6th, right?
very
And so
angry there.
then I looked at it like year to year for the past like 8 or 9 years.
Okay.
And I think the number normally winds up in that 9 or 10 quarterback range. Throws for 4,000 yards, but that's about it, right? And you even mentioned the number, what was it, 3387 on the low end, if you just did the complete low end there for Trevor Lawrence?
35-39.
Yeah, 35-39 would have had him 13th in the league last year in passing
yards. That was
yards.
his 5 worst games.
Right, like that kind of thing. I wound up, I did it not with the algorithm. I did it with just
trademark.
Right, the old traditional, I think he'll throw for around X number of yards a week.
And what'd you come up with?
17. And so I wound up going with the number 240, which would put him at 40-80 on the season. 31 touchdowns, 10 interceptions is because I a little bit of a bump up.
Smidge bump up in the touchdown production, smidge bump down.
Not going too crazy with it, though. And then on the rushing side, looking at his career rushing numbers, I think last year the touchdowns were specifically kind of an aberration, for Trevor Lawrence. So I said he's been around a 330 to 350 guy, in his career to this point. I think he'll maintain that. So I said 350 and put the touchdowns at 5.
Yeah, you're probably better off on the touchdowns than I am right there. RJ, what'd you end up with a projection?
So I'm saying that here's a guy who's going to be turning 27 and is going to be hitting his prime. That's normally what individuals say is normally the prime years or the beginning of the prime years at 27 years old. Also with the system continuity that he's going to have with Liam Cohen, and Liam has been known to be a guy that can, have top 10 offenses, when he's spearheading it, whether as an offensive coordinator or as a head coach. I have him, I think I'm splitting the difference between both of you guys. I have him at 4,250 in terms of passing yards with 32 touchdowns and 11 INTs.
32 touchdowns, 11 INTs. All right, what about on the ground?
On the ground, I have him at 320 and 5 touchdowns.
320 and 5. All right, so you're pretty close to Tony's projections on the rushing. Right. I think you and I are pretty close, actually, on the passing. Maybe you got a few more interceptions there. And again, I mean, I really felt comfortable. I'm like 41, 43, 33 touchdowns and 7. Let's call it 8 interceptions. Like, that's doable. That's really doable. When he had 29 and 12 this year, and again, it's not just leaning on the good end. It's mixing in understanding that the Trevor Lawrence experience, I hope it's 15 out of 17 games where he plays with a quarterback rating of 98 plus. I don't think that's where we're at yet. Surprised me. Be ahead of schedule, but I think he's building towards potentially having a little run like that and having all the pieces in place minus ETN, who is a factor for sure. And, just be able to dump it down 6 times and have that guy carried it into the end zone, help pad those numbers a little bit for Trevor Lawrence. So hopefully between Tootin, LaQuint Allen, and Chris Rodriguez, they can find somebody to replicate at least some of that. And we'll get a little bit more going downfield as well. All right, we'll come back with some final thoughts today. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Streaming live from the XL Digital Studios. Polished by Harbor Dental Care, the locally owned smile restoration experts.
With 50 years of fabrication expertise in towing products, the family at Cannons of Jacksonville can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on Jaguars Today. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, your long-term solution for weight loss.
What if the next roof you put on your home was the last one? Not another replacement in 15 or 20 years, the last roof. Metlock Roofing is Florida's only manufacturer and installer of this exclusive roofing system. Engineered for strength, built for Florida weather, backed by a lifetime warranty. Imagine never needing another roof. Call 938-9933 or visit metlokroofing.com. Get your last roof today with Metlock. License number CCC 1335581.
Lola's Burrito and Burger Joint in Riverside, voted best burrito in Jacksonville by Folio Weekly. They serve giant burritos, juicy burgers, cold draft beer, and the perfect margarita. Enjoy happy hour Monday through Friday 2 to 7. And to celebrate the madness, $10 pitchers of Outlaw Light or 10 wings with a domestic pint for just $15. Don't forget to ask about catering. Order today at lolasburritojoint.com.
This is Frank Frangie for the farm in Okefenokee. Can you imagine owning a handcrafted cabin tucked into a 1,000-acre regenerative farm? Imagine enjoying fresh produce from the garden, fruit from the orchard, meats from the smokehouse. Every meal is a true farm-to-table experience all year long. Belong to a place where your family can choose nature over screens, spending their days feeding animals, picking berries, and fishing in the farm's pond. Learn more at okefarm.com. That's okefarm.com.
Hey gang, Prosser here for my friends Chad and Sandy. What are your concerns? What struggles do you anticipate when it comes time to sell your home? What is it that bothers you? What's keeping you from getting max money as quickly as possible? Well, I don't know what those reasons are because I know they're all silly. Because Chad and Sandy have one down-to-the-line guarantee. Your home sold guaranteed, or they will buy it. It'll be at a price and a rate that you agree upon beforehand. So if you need to sell now, fast, easy, stress-free, and you need max price, then you need Chad and Sandy. The government's making moves intended to push mortgage rates lower. The last time rates dropped, we saw a selling and buying frenzy. Now's the time to prepare. It's time to call Chad and Sandy. Darcy in San Jose did. I wanted to move to a more walkable, vibrant area. Within 3 days of working with Chad and Sandy's team, I found the perfect home. They do it stress-free with a guarantee. Go to chadandsandy.com or call 414-6200. That's chadandsandy.com.
Ready to put your dream car in drive? Get solid rates for the road ahead when you finance with First Florida Credit Union. Enjoy competitive low rates, up to 90 days of no payments, and budget-friendly protection plans. Whether you're buying a vehicle or refinancing, stop by a branch or apply online at firstflorida.org/autoloans. Membership eligibility required. Interest accrues during loan payment deferral period. Federally insured by NCUA. Visit firstflorida.org/autoloans.
The Brown Family YMCA in Ponte Vedra Beach is better than ever. Come experience our new renovated spaces, including an expanded wellness center with upgraded state-of-the-art equipment, recovery solutions, brand new locker rooms, and the Horsell Center for Health and Well-Being, all designed to help you feel your best. And now you can join with no joining fee. Plus, enjoy your 4th month free. There's no place like this place. And you'll love what's new. Visit the Brown Family YMCA in Ponte Vedra Beach.
XL Primetime and Bud Light is all about the buckets Thursday and Friday to tip off the tournament. Join Joe C., Matt, and Leon at the Southside Ale House in Tinseltown, noon Thursday, and Monkey's Uncle at the beach on Friday. That's Hoops Heaven and XLP with Bud Light.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars today on 1010XL.
I would love to go through some of the projections, but my Twitter is not cooperating right now. Tony, I cannot see a reply to anything. It's kind of half working at the moment. So tomorrow we'll try to look back at some of the projections. I appreciate when we do it, one is a little bit more involved, to go in and give a bunch of categories. So we appreciate the people to give us that full feedback on the question of the day. So we'll take a look at some of those tomorrow. One of the things we will do tomorrow, it's one of the few times a year when we have a pre-planned segment or so that is non-Jaguar or NFL related, because it's obligatory, I feel. You got to go through our NCAA tournament brackets, which reminds me, if you go to 1010XL.com and look at the banner at the top, if it's not there, the second you log in, it rotates through. Click on the Mr. Chubby's Bracket Challenge. It's free to enter. If you are first place with the best bracket, you're going to win a pair of tickets to Welcome to Rockville for Saturday, which is the day you kind of want to go to have a day to recuperate. After that, second place, you get a $100 gift card to Fanatics, and third place, $100 gift card to Mr. Chubby's Wings themselves. Plus, if you're at one of the Mr. Chubby's locations in town, you get a free pint of Budweiser every time your team advances, although you did be present at the time and have your bracket printed out. Hopefully there's some... Like, I'm immediately thinking, how many brackets would I bring to this with how many different permutations in an effort to get a free pint of beer? Because that's how I think, right? Always trying to get one over on the man, Tony, is where I'm at right now. Have you looked at all at your bracket yet? You have. Have you filled it out?
Mostly. You
have, okay. I have not advanced a single team yet. What about yourself, RJ Saunders?
No.
That's a no. That's a you and me. That's a blank. What other than NBA, RJ? What can we get RJ Saunders interested in around here? We'll do them all tomorrow, and we'll see how it goes. I'm not a big fan of Chris Russo, but Tony noted we happen to have ESPN on in the studio that he had both Vandy and St. John's in the Final Four.
Yeah,
we'll take that right now. And the rest of it, I don't really care, man. St. John's, come on, bro.
Holy cow.
I mean, it's been a while, and they did win one back.
Vandy's never been there.
Well, St. John's won it back in when it was when the NIT was still the big tournament.
Yeah,
right. They won the NIT when that was the tournament, but this is back in the 50s,
right?
Bro. So it's not like people are like, well, I thought you were a Florida State fan. I do like Florida State's football team, but when I moved down to Florida, all my teams were long established. The only team I've really changed over my lifetime is I'm now consider myself a Jaguar fan through and through and a recovering Jets fan, and that's just the state of affairs, state of play right now. And, I got some friends who are still Jets fans, hardcore, man. It's not easy. It's not an easy life. Let me tell you. Now, the Jets have had, success here or there over the years, but when I do hear, nobody understands what it's like to be a Jacksonville Jaguar fan. Man, there are plenty of franchises that understand it. They absolutely do. The Detroit Lions understand it. The Arizona Cardinals understand it. Not saying they've never peaked and have a great season. Cardinals made it to the Super Bowl, didn't win it, but nevertheless, it's a good time of year, man. There's so much going on, and we will dip our toe into those bracket waters tomorrow. But again, go to 1010XL.com. It is free to play. Fill out the bracket in the link right there. You can print it out, bring it to Mr. Chubby's, or you can just sit back and see if you win some tickets to Welcome to Rockville. Our time today is done, so let's welcome in XL Primetime.
Now, the 2-minute drill is driven by nobody but Nimnicht. Nimnicht Chevrolet on Cassett Avenue and Nimnicht Buick GMC on Phillips Highway.
Matt Hayes, ladies and gentlemen. How are you?
Good morning. By the way, Mr. Chubby's is a great place to watch ball.
It's a great place to watch ball. I've said this every time it's come up in the last couple of weeks. Best wings in town. My favorite wings in town, literally. So
they're pretty darn good.
They're pretty good, man, right? Yeah. They really are. What are you going to do but watch a little ball for the next few days? So where did you put college basketball for yourself in terms of your viewing or interest habits?
So I think these 3 weeks are probably the best 3 weeks in sports.
Oh, yeah, in terms of just the tournament. I mean, overall.
But as far as, it's a gambling sport, okay? So I would put it under both footballs, NFL and college football. I would...
They're all gambling sports.
Probably soccer third, and then college basketball.
Soccer over college basketball. So what do you follow?
Like Premier League.
Premier League.
Yeah.
Who's your squad?
I just watch it. I watch all of it.
Okay, you like
Yeah.
it all.
Yeah, Liverpool.
You're that guy. Man about town, Matt Hayes. All right.
I
fine.
know.
Hey, look, I'm the same way. I think the next 2 days are the best scheduled 2 days every year. Sometimes you get a great game 7. Sometimes you get, but on the schedule, Thursday and Friday are almost always going to deliver. 19 out of 20 times. There's a year every once in a while where I ask.
Plus, you love those 12:15 a.m. endings where it's a buzzer beater, and you're so glad you stayed up and watched.
Bro, it's so funny how my bracket score, Tony, affects my mood. Like, I don't know, Matt. Tony and I, between us, maybe watch a half dozen basketball games a year. But if I'm 4-0 at 2:30 in the afternoon tomorrow, buddy,
You're on fire,
I think I might have the first undefeated bracket of all time. That's just how I am. It's a beautiful time, man. All right, what's coming up today for you?
We are going to talk ball. A lot of that. We're going to have Ron Slade, the former Vols legend, will be on to talk a little tournament with us, and we're going to get into that. We're going to talk some football as well.
Love it. All right, Matt. Have a good show.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it. Good to have you back in the fold here with XL Primetime coming up for the next 2 hours. Thanks to Brian Sexton today, senior correspondent over at Jaguars.com. And, of course, Chad Ryder earlier this hour from NFL.com. Appreciate everybody giving us feedback on their thoughts on Trevor Lawrence. The conversation never stops. And we'll continue tomorrow with an eye towards the NCAA tournament. For Tony Smith and RJ Saunders, I'm Mike Dempsey. We'll be back again from 10 to noon tomorrow on 1010XL 92.5.